Maybe you already saw the brand new Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. One of the most interesting things I think is totally the samurai quickly running out of the smoke from the smoke bomb. So tactics like in Mirage, where you can drop a smoke bomb on enemies and then take them all out one by one, won't always work in Shadows depending on the opponent you're facing. Got more gameplay and info, but there are also major leaks data mined that seem to be totally correct. For one, the game will track the amount of duels you have won. So it seems like there will be a focus on 1v1 encounters as well, and this could totally be similar to the Drangir fights from Valhalla, but then likely more classy and in true standoff style, similar to Ghost of Tsushima. The mount system will have a bit more depth this time around, so we already saw some cool armor sets for our horses, but seems like these will be separate. So you have the saddles and you have the mounts that look different, and they also have different stats. So maybe different movement speed, and likely also the upgrades we saw at the stable you could buy in Valhalla. But yeah, this should mean that we can combine different saddles and mounts and make new combinations that way, which could be pretty cool. Now, another big change is the fact that the game will only have a headpiece and an outfit piece this time around from the looks of it, instead of the 5 gear pieces we saw in Odyssey and Valhalla. So you have less ways to customize your playstyle or build, but the upside is that the rewards are more impactful because the gear chests are now also back, there's no random loot. But yeah, this does mean that you now only need 2 of these gear chests for a full armor set, and always get something that completely changes your look instead of like boring gloves that are not that impactful at all. Curious to your take on this, and let's go over more new info and breakdowns of the new gameplay. Of course, a like on the video would be awesome, and subscribe to not miss any new Shadows info. Black Myth Wukong made me fall in love with the Monkey King, so I was looking for more games that feature him, and well, you can actually get him for free for a limited time, and I'll tell you how in a moment. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the video, and special thanks to Universal Studios licensing, because yes, Skeletor is now also in the game. There's a collab going on with Universal Products and Experiences and Mattel, and this also means that He-Man is now in the game, and he looks really nice. I know this is very nostalgic for some people. And you can get Skeletor by simply logging in for 7 days between now and January 8th, although you gotta start before December 25th. It's always fun to jump back into Raid for big events like this and then see what new content they added. I especially dig the Cursed City with many challenges and a cool boss encounter at the end. So totally make sure you click the special link in the video description or scan the QR code for a ton of free rewards. If you are a new player, you can get a big starter pack with champion Tagoar, reach level 15, and you also get a ton of rewards and champion Grizzled Jarl. And if you use the in-game promo code Monkey King, one word, you can get Sun Wukong if you are a new player. You can also join my clan, as you see right here. Like, really thanks to Raid for sponsoring the video, and now let's get back into it. A really cool new aspect is that you have to be mindful of the area you are in. Many indoor locations in Shadows will namely have these nightingale floors that creak when someone steps on it. So you have to crouch, just like in Splinter Cell, to massively reduce your sound in these locations, which you will see thanks to the reduced sound waves under your feet. And we of course can go prone for the first time. Both Yasuke and Naoe can do this when on the ground, on roofs, but also underwater. But Naoe, when prone, can also do the dodge button to roll to the side, front or back, and then quickly get behind an unexpected guard and assassinate them, which looks really cool. Now you can't immediately assassinate everyone. Enemies will have levels based on their archetype and region, so if you neglect assassin hidden blade upgrades, you may find that stronger enemies can completely deny your assassination attempts. And I love how they made 3 different types of assassination animations. If the assassination text is white, you do an insta-kill with a brutal move. If the text is yellow, you deal damage, but not enough to kill the enemy, and new is red, where you will deal 0 damage and the enemy will throw you away. And this seems to be mostly the case against skill level samurais, so samurais that are 5 levels or more higher than you. So it seems like the system is a bit similar to Origins, where you have to upgrade your hidden blade for successful assassinations, but then combined with Odyssey system, as you can also invest in perks to increase your assassination damage. New though, and this is really cool, a strong enemy may survive a frontal assassination but may die from a sneaky air assassination. So the direction and the way you choose to assassinate a target impacts your damage. Again, I think that's really awesome, and don't worry if you just want your hidden blades to be a one-shot kill all the time, you can simply turn it on in the menu similar to Valhalla. And we got some new info on an upgraded feature from Valhalla, the settlement. So next to statues, trees, water pots, and straight up buildings you can place wherever you want, they will also be adding pets for in our settlement that we can likely interact with, or at least have run around, like pigs, dogs, cats, and foxes. We have no footage sadly of this yet, but it's likely similar to some of the pets we saw walk around in the settlement in Valhalla, but now they will come in helix packs we can buy or earn for free. And we can, by the way, also change the color and complete look of the buildings that we put in our hideout. I'm hoping for some interactable things in the settlement as well, like dummies that we saw in Valhalla, so we can see the impact of gear changes, or maybe target practice for Yasuke's bow. Using the bow with Yasuke seems to be the only way he can do stealth, by the way, as enemies won't be alerted after you drop one with an arrow. Because if you decide to do a regular assassination, you do a devastating assassination instead with his melee weapon. And yes, this seems to be very similar to doing a heavy attack to an enemy from behind while in stealth in Valhalla, which also causes you to immediately get into combat. Ubisoft now also shared more about the differences between the shuriken and the kunai. So the kunai seems very similar to the throwing knives from Mirage that can very easily do a one-shot kill, while the shuriken momentarily stuns an enemy, so it's probably great in combat and can also be used to break things in the environment, like a lantern to create darkness, or things that can be used as a distraction. So while in Mirage you could use the throwing knife for both of these things, in Shadows they divided the uses between the kunai and the shuriken, and we should also be able to throw multiple shurikens, but no info on what the purpose of that is yet. Another interesting new addition is the observe mechanic, which is different from the eagle vision, but can be combined. So only Naue can use the traditional eagle vision to see a glow around enemies, spot them through walls, and also highlight other objects like hiding spots. The observe mechanic is different though, because next to Naue, Yasuke can also use it, and it simply lets you zoom in on targets to tag them, but it will also reveal other icons in the area like lootable stashes, collectibles, quest objectives, and viewpoints. And while on a sync point, you can use it to spot all the different locations on the map. And what is cool is that Naue can again combine both the eagle vision and the observe mechanic. We don't see that in footage, but she can then, for example, tag enemies through walls. It seems like Ubisoft is finally making enemies smarter. If you namely get spotted while sneaking around and are able to return to stealth again, the enemies will be more suspicious going forward. For one, they will actively look for you in pairs, which means that assassinating from a hiding spot will be harder because they can more easily spot you, and also things like whistling to lure them will only increase their suspicion, so won't be really a viable tactic after you got spotted once. Also, samurai will be less easily tricked after you got spotted once, so some tricks will not work anymore, while they would work if they did not see you before. No words on what those tricks actually are, but it does seem that the samurai are pretty formidable foes and really require different tactics to take out. Now luckily there are different areas inside a camp or castle, so when you reach that new area the stealth basically resets, and then whistling and other tricks will work again, unless you get spotted again. I think it all sounds really cool, but we of course have to wait and see how it all shakes out when we actually get to play the game. I will have way more Assassin's Creed Shadows content, so subscribe to not miss the next one with even more new info. A like would really help me out, and check out my most recent Shadows video by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.